Well, this isn't on the road. Good morning, everyone. Hello, how are ya? Welcome back to my little corner for another coffee chit chats with Cass. And yeah, so we're late again, which means we're not on the road anymore. So here we are back in my little corner. Got my peace lily here, just kind of, hanging out in the corner. And yeah, today we have a, now tepid, but it was hot at one point, pumpkin spice coffee with maple syrup and silk soy creamers. So cheers, everyone. Even, I don't care what temperature this is, even tepid, it is still delicious. So, welcome back to my little corner here. We've got our little special guest. I don't know if you can see him. Nope, he's out of frame, but there's a little pooch right here, just snuggling up with the mom in the cozy chair. And yeah, so we're back. This last week was not super draining, actually. It went pretty well. So my sister came to visit and she brought my nephew so they could come see the house. And then we went back and had his birthday party. So my nephew is now 2 years old. And it's just so exciting because I remember around this time last year, he was barely learning how to walk, and he was at the point where he could walk, but he needed someone to hold him. And I remember on his birthday list from last year, my sister had put I'm gonna try to explain, but they're these little sort of like bungee cords, I suppose, but you basically, put the baby in this little harness thing, and then you use those to be able to hold them up so that you can walk with them. And I remember specifically that I did not need those, and I could just, hold his arms up and stand at regular height and walk like I usually do, because I am the shortest. Which, speaking of, I had a doctor's appointment yesterday, and they checked all my vitals and my weight and everything, but they also measured my height, which I haven't paid much attention to in a really long time. And so I asked the nurse, how tall I am, and she's like, oh, you're 5'2", which is amazing because for the last few years, I have been so convinced that I was still 5 feet tall, because I think that's about how tall I was last time I was measured. If anything, it was something ridiculous, 5 feet and 3/4 of an inch, or basically not very tall. But now I'm 5'2", which means when I get my new license in October, that I'm gonna need to update that, which it's not a huge difference, but it's enough that, I don't want them to give me any flack for trying to seem shorter than I actually am. So that's the tea, sis. Also, after doing last week's video, I realized I probably could have addressed, all the drama and everything that's going on in I shouldn't say the beauty community, because truthfully, it's not the beauty community as a whole. It's one corner of it. But I don't want to do that, because I think, while at first I was ready to give my opinion because I have done that in the past, I think for this kind of thing, it's the internet doesn't need that right now. I feel like we just need to, I, as someone who makes content for the internet, I just want to make stuff that's going to make people laugh and not have to think about that stuff, because there's a lot of really crappy things that are happening, in the world in general right now. For the past week, my news feeds on every platform have been about, the same 3 things, and it's just made me feel crappy. And so, not to say that those things aren't important, because they are important, but I just don't want that to, be what I'm adding to the conversation. It's just more of the same sentiment and more of the same negativity and bad things that are happening. So this last weekend was also EDC, so happy post EDC weekend, everyone. I hope you survived. And so I think this week was supposed to be the weekend, but I'm, coming at you late, so we're just going to do it now. I wanted to talk about my experiences with music festivals because I went to EDC twice. And what's funny to me is that my biggest qualm with EDC has never really been that, I didn't like the style or anything. I do think it's too much for me personally, but it's all preference. If you can do 3 straight nights of partying all night, cool, do your thing. I cannot. I am an old bag and I like being home and doing nothing or watching crime shows or something. So not my style, but I can see how other people would like it. My issue has been that I don't do well in the heat. And the years that I went, it was 100 degrees at midnight to 2 o'clock in the morning, which is supposed to be the coldest time because, sun goes down, everything cools off, and that was the coldest it would get. This year, it was 55 degrees at night, and that's not to say that I would have gone anyway. I probably wouldn't have. Well, actually, no. I know I wouldn't have because I was not going to miss my nephew's birthday, but it just is so funny to me that after I, have not gone, now all of a sudden it's a manageable temperature because I would much rather have to bundle up to go out and watch, a DJ do a set instead of, dying of heat and having to deal with that. So the first year I went to EDC, I had been to one rave beforehand. So we went to Beyond Wonderland, we being a group of friends and it was in March in San Bernardino, California. So it was fine during the day, we were in our rave outfits, it was awesome, and then at night it dropped down to probably about 60 degrees or something like that. So I was pretty cold at that point, but that ended at about, I think, 2 in the morning, I want to say. So we got there around 8. It wasn't too bad. And I was like, okay, I can handle this. I don't know why I didn't ask and I just kind of assumed all raves were like that. I didn't know that for EDC, it's starting around the same time, later in the evening and goes until 6 in the morning. So I was not prepared for that. And so I think part of that, really hit me hard the first year because I didn't know that was what was going on. I ended up trying to sleep on the field because it was 4 in the morning and I was tired and people were stepping on me because, they're just trying to get through and stuff. And I was not having it because that's not what I'm into. So it was really hard, but, I feel like I enjoyed it for the most part. I had never been to something on that kind of scale, It was fun to, dress up and, pick outfits and stuff. But, I kind of decided after that first year that it just was not my thing. Because the first day we went, I think I made it through the whole night. And then I realized, oh, it's going to be the same every single night. And so the second night was probably the night I tried sleeping in the field, and the third day I was like, I can't do this, I gotta go lay down. So I went and slept in the car in the parking lot and then just picked everybody up on the way out the next morning because I'm like, you guys can do this and that's cool, but I'm gonna go pass out because I can't deal with this. So then the next year, you get the hotel, and I was just planning on going to Vegas and being there while this happened. Mind you, my wallet had been stolen on my way there. Or it was in the beginning of the trip, so I couldn't even check into the hotel at first. Luckily, I was going back to LA, at which point I could have gotten an expired ID to use with my temporary ID that I had as a paper copy, but I didn't think to do that. So for the first part of the trip, I couldn't really do anything. I couldn't go out drinking with everyone. Even when we went to restaurants, I couldn't do that because they can't take paper IDs. It was a mess. But I had decided, I am just going to stay in Vegas, and, go to shows, hang out, be low key. I'm not gonna go and be a part of this, but I'm, going to be here for everybody to pregame and maybe like drive if they need to or whatever. So another friend who was on that specific trip didn't want to go to the last night. So I went for one day of EDC, and it was Sunday, and I had been rested the whole day before. So I like somehow pulled an outfit together and then went for the last day. And I think to me, like, that's the most manageable. The only like pseudo downside, I guess, was that I don't think I got to see the DJs that I wanted to, because I wanted to try to stick with the group. But that's okay, because I wanted to go see Galantis, and I can't remember if they were performing that night or I'm confusing it with that they were doing a show on the Strip one of the days prior. But either way, they have a Vegas residency, so it's not as though I'll never get to see them again. So that was fine, because yeah, it was really hot, but it was only one night of, going and being up all night, and that was totally manageable to me. And it was actually pretty fun, because I had just been hanging out in the hotel every night prior, so it was a good time. But I do think that, music festivals are great. I've been to a few of them now, actually, that aren't just EDC. Like, I think 2 years ago? Last year? We went to Self-Help Fest, which is like, I don't want to say the wrong genre, but I feel like it's like basically like a metal festival or something like that. And so, I have done these things for like different kinds of music as well. I think this kind of like goes back to me being like mostly low maintenance but high maintenance in this regard, that I don't really care for the heat. So that's not, something that I'm looking for in a music festival. I like to enjoy the music, but as long as it's something that I can enjoy listening to, then that's cool. So I think, I'm not one of those people that is going to sit here and say, like, EDC sucks and, like, ravers are stupid, because I don't feel that way. I just think I can appreciate the culture, but it's not for me. And that's okay, because, there are some aspects of it that I enjoy. Like, I've gone to Vegas and, like, gone to the clubs to see these DJs perform, and it's fun, while you're there. But it's just not something that I would want to do, like, over and over. However, there's nothing wrong with that. So, yeah, I mean, that's my story. I don't know that there's really much to it. Basically, EDC is just kind of like going and listening to your favorite DJs and dancing. I don't think I did a whole lot of headbanging, because I don't remember that I was in all that much pain the next day. But yeah, I mean, if you're into it, all the power to you. But just, be aware. It is a lot. And my friends did warn me, like, it was going to be a lot to take in. But I was like, oh, I can handle it. I could not handle it. So, yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. Happy, I think we're probably mid-festival season now. But, here we are. And I'm going to finish this here coffee. And I will see you guys next weekend. And also, again, happy late birthday, Emilio. I love you. Bye.